Kate lay unconscious in the pouring rain, and Anthony galloped swiftly towards her and dismounted his horse. Hastily, he draped his jacket over her fragile form, wincing as he felt the stickiness of blood on his hand when he touched her head. Gently, he lifts her into his arms and carried her to the waiting carriage nearby. Back at Lady Danbury's residence, Anthony cradled Kate as he ascended the stairs, urgently directing someone to summon the surgeon. Mary and Edwina meet him on the landing, their faces etched with concern. In terse tones, Anthony briefed the surgeon on Kate's condition, emphasizing the need to prompt attention to the gash on her head. Lady Danbury, Edwina, and Mary anxiously observe as Kate is settled in bed. Anthony's impatience grows, but he deferred to the surgeon's expertise. Benedict entered, inquiring about Kate's well-being, having heard about the incident from his valet. Anthony, overwhelmed with guilt, abruptly left the room, leaving a pool of Wally behind. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Lady Eaton voiced her curiosity about Lady Whistledown's conspicuous absence. Margaret Goring remarked on the lack of scandal sheets despite the usual frequency of publication. Cressida Cowper speculated on the reasons behind Whistledown's silence, suggesting it might relate to Eloise's activities. Their inquiry with the delivery boy yielded no gossip, only the mundane news of the day. Prudence, keen on seeing Lady Whistledown resume her columns in time for her upcoming nuptials, was met with skepticism from Philippa. Penelope, however, pondered whether Whistledown had ceased writing to spare others from her revelations. Expressing a desire to visit Eloise, Penelope was promptly rebuffed by Portia, who forbade her from going to the Bridgerton household. Portia redirected her attention to plans for a grand ball, determined to showcase the Featherington family's resurgence after a trying year, inviting both the Bridgertons and the Sharmas despite her doubts that they would attend. Violet Bridgerton instructed Mrs. Wilson to send cheerful roses and lilacs to the Sharmas, mindful of their recent ordeal. Benedict inquired about attending the Featherington ball, prompting Violet to muse over their social standing and the absence of Lady Whistledown's critical eye. Colin, joining the conversation, noted the silence of Whistledown's pen, prompting Violet to suggest a stroll for Eloise and Penelope to clear their minds, albeit aware of the social consequences. Anthony arrived from Lady Danbury's, his mind preoccupied with recent staff departures. He interrogated Colin about a substantial withdrawal from their accounts, evoking Colin's plans to invest with Jack Featherington. Feeling sidelined, Anthony vented his frustration, disparaging his siblings before they retreated, leaving him alone with Violet. Concerned for Kate, Violet pressed Anthony for updates, dismayed by his avoidance of her bedside. Mary, Edwina, and Lady Danbury maintained vigil by Kate's bedside as she laid unconscious, their worry palpable in the quiet room. Eloise received a package from footman John containing a book and a note, piquing her curiosity. At Theo's shop, Eloise confronted him about his past association with Lady Whistledown, accusing him of concealing the truth. Theo admitted his reticence stemmed from fear of Whistledown's retribution against Eloise, despite his desire to be with her. With Whistledown's departure from his shop, Theo agreed to cooperate with Eloise's quest to unmask the mysterious gossip monger, sharing what information he had. Elsewhere, Lady Danbury recounted her recent audience with the Queen, who sought diversion in Lady Danbury's company amidst Whistledown's absence. Their conversation turned to the cancelled wedding, pondering Eloise's involvement, though Lady Danbury remained focused on Kate's recovery. In a London club, tensions flare as Colin confronted Jack Featherington about dubious mining investments. Will cautioned Colin against further dealings with Jack, igniting a heated exchange where Jack defended his integrity and Colin cautioned against besmirching the Featherington family name. Jack's unexpected intrusion into Portia's private space prompted a discussion on the feasibility of their schemes and the looming need for an exit strategy. Portia suggested expanding their investor base to countryside family, but Jack cautioned against overstaying their welcome in London. He floated the idea of emigrating to America, where their prospects might be brighter without the constraints of British society. Their conversation ended with an intimate moment, pondering a future unencumbered by London's rigid social hierarchy. Edwina pleads with Kate, who is unconscious, not to pass away before they can reconcile. She keeps vigil at Kate's bedside, reading quietly. When Kate finally murmurs her name, Edwina jumps up with joy. She calls for Mary and Lady Danbury, who promptly summons a doctor. Kate slowly recalls her accident in the park and asks if Anthony came to see her. Lady Danbury reveals that Anthony rescued her from the park and brought her home, but hasn't visited since. Violet finds Anthony buried in paperwork and informs him of Kate's awakening with a cheerful tone. Anthony, overwhelmed with relief, breaks down in tears, rocking back and forth. Violet expresses sympathy for his grief and regrets that he was with his father that day and everything that ensued afterwards. She wishes she could turn back time and thinks about it daily. And he admits he doesn't know if he can face seeing Kate again. Violet, recalling her own loss of Edmund, insists that true love is worth fighting for and urges Anthony not to lose Kate. Eloise visits Genevieve unexpectedly, questioning her involvement with Lady Whistledown. Genevieve denies any connection, but Eloise presses on, convinced by Whistledown's praise of Genevieve's business. The Featheringtons' arrival interrupts their conversation, and Eloise arranges to meet Penelope outside. Outside, Eloise shares Theo's revelations with Penelope about her pursuit of Lady Whistledown. Penelope warns Eloise that gossip has been circulating among the servants for weeks. Eloise, initially believing she had been discreet, asks Penelope to confirm. Penelope stresses the importance of moving on to avoid further scandal affecting her family. She looks forward to the day when their relationship can return to its former state. Benedict paints Tessa when Rupert Norton arrives. Rupert admires Benedict's work, surprised by his talent despite earlier doubts. Benedict learns that Anthony secured his place at the Academy through a substantial donation. Anthony arrives at Lady Danbury's residence, and Kate sits up upon Anthony's arrival in her room. Grateful for his care, she thanks him for the flowers and queries if there's more. Anthony admits he came the morning after to apologize for overstepping and to propose. As he begins to propose again, Kate stops him, insisting he need not. She plans to return to India once her sister's affairs are settled, leading Anthony to inquire about their financial security. Kate assures him Lady Danbury offered to host their family for another season, and she asserts her independence, declaring she's no longer a burden to them. Anthony accuses her of running away, prompting Kate to ask him to leave, which he does. Theo and Eloise discuss Genevieve's potential involvement with Lady Whistledown. Eloise suspects Genevieve is hiding something despite her denials. Their hands touch briefly while gathering pamphlets, sparking a moment of tension before Eloise withdraws, citing the need to end their secret meetings to protect Theo. Kate visits Edwina, recovered from her coma and seeking to rebuild their trust. Edwina admits her earlier concern was solely for Kate's recovery, but now she seeks answers. She questions if there was always something between Kate and Anthony, and Kate confesses she deluded herself, acknowledging the growing attraction but denying it until it was too late. Edwina realizes Kate's emotion was stronger than she let on, reflecting on her own self-discovery during Kate's absence. Edwina desires authenticity, urging them to attend the Featherington ball as their true selves. They clasp hands in solidarity. Eloise encounters Benedict outdoors, sensing her distress. Benedict perceives her heartache through his artistry. Eloise opens up about her uncertainty at balls and her recent rift with Penelope. Benedict offers to escort her to the ball. Gregory seeks Anthony's counsel late at night, troubled by a recent school incident. Anthony reassures Gregory and reminisces about their father's character. He acknowledges their lack of conversation about Edmund and embraces Gregory warmly as Violet listens. Kate gazes at the flowers Anthony brought, overwhelmed with emotion. Mary consoles her, advising against escaping to India to avoid hardship. Kate blames herself for everything that transpired, feeling she failed her family. Mary counters, accepting responsibility for not supporting Kate and Edwina properly. She affirms Kate's place in their family since their first meeting and assures her of unconditional love. Kate reveals Anthony's interrupted proposal and her refusal out of duty, convinced he doesn't love her. Mary embraces Kate, offering solace. The Featherington ball commences with dancing and whispers among the guests. Portia and Prudence discuss the festivities, eyeing the Queen's entrance. The Bridgertons arrive at the ball, prompting immediate gossip. Violet reassures Eloise not to care about others' opinions, urging her to be her true self. Penelope and Eloise discuss Thea's revelations and Penelope's efforts to protect Eloise. Eloise decides to abandon her pursuit of Lady Whistledown, prompting Penelope to reveal a recent discovery about Lord Fife and Margaret Goring. Lady Danbury, Mary, Kate, and Edwina made their entrance amidst a flurry of whispers. Edwina expressed her relief that Kate had chosen to attend. Kate had wanted one final evening with Edwina before departing. Edwina invited Kate to dance with her, declaring that there could be no more severe criticism of their family than there had already been spoken. Colin danced with Cressida, admiring the necklace from Jack that she wore. When the necklace slipped off her neck due to a broken glass, Colin offered to repair it for her. After their dance concluded, he took Penelope's hand and quietly led her away. In a private room, Colin revealed to Penelope that there were no gemstone mines in Georgia, exposing Jack's fraudulent schemes. Before he could elaborate, Jack and Portia barged into the room, and Colin demonstrated that the necklace was made with glass, denouncing Jack for preying on vulnerable women without male protection. Out of concern for their welfare, Colin decided not to expose Jack publicly, but insisted he return the ill-gotten money and leave town immediately. As Colin left, Portia assured Penelope she would handle the situation, acknowledging Colin's intervention. Once Penelope departed, Jack and Portia discussed accelerating their departure plans, aiming to leave the next day. Portia expressed concern about her daughters and the need to send for them later. Relieved that Jack wouldn't have to marry Prudence and could pursue other options, Jack kissed Portia and suggested they return to the party. Penelope sought out Colin, who asked her to dance. He confessed he had rehearsed a speech for hours and hinted at further plans if Jack did not comply. Penelope thanked him for protecting them, and Colin assured her he always would, emphasizing her importance to him. Edwina advised Kate not to avoid Anthony throughout the evening, urging her to be her authentic self and do something for herself for once. As Edwina walked away, Anthony approached Kate. He initially suggested they maintain their distance, but was surprised when she countered that perhaps they shouldn't. Kate mused that others might believe she needed support after her recent head injury. Anthony playfully tested her perception by asking how many fingers he held up. When Kate answered 3, he revealed there were 4, teasing her. Kate then asked if he would ask her to dance and inquired if she would say yes. Leading her onto the dance floor, they began to dance, oblivious to the watching crowd. Anthony encouraged Kate to keep looking at him, assuring her that no one else mattered. From the sidelines, the Queen observed with a smile. Lady Cowper remarked on the scandal, wondering if it was why Edwina's wedding had been cancelled. The Queen overheard and clarified that she had simply changed her mind about the wedding, a fact missed by Lady Whistledown. Edwina interjected that Anthony and Kate looked stunning together, a sentiment echoed by the Queen and others present. The Queen prompted everyone to start dancing, openly acknowledging Anthony and Kate, signalling her approval. Kate and Anthony held hands for a long moment, drawing closer as the dance concluded. Returning to her room, Penelope discovered Eloise replacing floorboards. Eloise questioned Penelope about her sudden wealth, prompting Penelope to reveal it was not her concern. Eloise confronted Penelope about her actions at the ball, which had triggered her suspicions. Eloise recalled past events and conversations, realizing Penelope's involvement with Genevieve had been personal. Tearfully, Penelope apologized, admitting that she had been trying to protect Eloise. Eloise, hurt and angry, accused Penelope of betraying her trust and exploiting others for financial gain, leading Penelope to end her friendship with Theo. Penelope confessed she had agonized about her secrets, but had given them up for Eloise's sake. Eloise accused Penelope of hiding behind her writing and avoiding real confrontation. Penelope defended herself, claiming at least she had taken action, unlike Eloise, who she criticized as being all talk. Eloise declared she never wanted to see or speak to Penelope again, walking away in disappointment and anger. Benedict informs Anthony of his decision to leave the academy. Anthony acknowledges his donation and encourages Benedict to pursue his artistic talents, recognizes his unique perception. Anthony finds Kate in the garden, questioning her plans to leave. Kate acknowledges her family's approval and the Queen's intervention. Anthony confesses his fear of losing her, explaining his absence after her accident. He declares his love for her since their first meeting and proposes again. Kate accepts, kissing him as the fireworks illuminate the sky. The crowd enjoys the fireworks. Penelope watches from her window, tearful. Colin and Alice welcome a large crowd at Will's club, and Mary and Edwina share a tender moment watching the fireworks. Benedict closes his box of painting supplies, and Portia watches the fireworks with Prudence and Philippa. Eloise watches them from her window, reflecting tearfully. Penelope resumes writing, declaring her return. 6 months later, Anthony and Kate, now married, share a tender moment in bed. They prepare to join the family outside for Pall Mall, and a bee buzzes near Aubrey's Hall's flowers. Violet and Lady Danbury tease Daphne and Eloise about their slow pace. Anthony and Kate join them, eager to play Pall Mall. They jokingly dispute over a mallet, showcasing their playful dynamic. As they prepare to begin, Newton, Kate's dog, disrupts the game. Anthony and Kate banter playfully, affirming their love. The family smiles as they kiss. That's it for the Bridgerton recap. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next recap.